audience kind of an overview? What should they know about this book going in?
So the best summary I have of Leo is Diary of a Wimpy Kid crossed with a Dan Brown novel. It is fun, short, punchy chapters about a 13-year-old boy genius who finds out he is heir to the world's coolest toy company, but he has to use his talents to try and rescue the company and also find out why he was left behind at this mysterious school called the Academy of Florence. And he's eventually going to solve what happened to his family and also use his genius level ability as an artist, scientist, engineer, architect. He's going to use that talent to help rebuild the company. The hook is that it's all based on the life of Leonardo da Vinci, who really was abandoned until he was 13 years old. And so every character is based on someone from the Renaissance, and every illustration that's in the book is also based on something from the Renaissance or inspired by art from the Renaissance.
Gotcha. And so all kinds of questions. One question I had was why age 13? But I believe we've covered that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Who's the ideal reader for this story?
Oh man, I think like 9 to 14, 15, and then hopefully their parents. I mean, the way my editor described it is you're slipping some spinach into the brownies, where it's just kids reading it and being like, oh, here's I enjoyed this book. There were some jokes. There's an adventure. And then they're going to be like, also, I can tell you how you're supposed to interpret a painting at an art museum, because that's one of the ways that he solves a puzzle in the book that Da Vinci does. And yeah, I mean, that's the ideal reader is kids, and then their parents who are excited for their kids to know a little bit more about the Renaissance and art history.
And then with a book like this, for 8 years, you're working on it while you're doing all kinds of incredible other stuff, and working on TV and doing some comedy and all kinds of great stuff. What is it that brings you back to this over those 8 years? Why, after year one, do you not set it aside? I'm sure you've done that with other projects. Most writers have. What was it that brought you back to this one and kept you coming back?
I grew up in this working class community where I had seen how devastating it can be when jobs leave, when things kind of exit a community. And I kind of attributed to that to a lack of ethics, that I saw the ways that I felt like corporations were conducting themselves. And to me, what has been the huge progress since the Renaissance is the enforcement of ethics. The Enlightenment is arriving at the idea that we should all agree on a truth. So from there, I started writing about an ethical hero, and the idea being that he would renew his own community with like a cool company and give people jobs that made them feel dignified, that made them enjoy going to work. And so from that, I was like, okay, so what happens if that guy is disappeared? And that became the story about how Leo is going to try and find out what happened to his father.
That makes sense. Yeah. And that little nugget there, that was just, you wanted that to be front and center for as many readers as you could find?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of core to it. Like, the book is dedicated to my son, Finn, and so the dedication is heroes are ethical, be a hero. And I just felt so strongly about the way that those corporations just kind of abandoned my town and was just imagining like what would happen if someone came to renew it and came to renew this community and did it in like I was like imagining how cool it would be. When I was a kid, I went to the Hasbro factory, which is in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Like my dad found it along I-95 after we went to visit family in Boston. He was like, we're going to stop here. And we stopped at the G.I. Joe factory. So 7-year-old me just lost my mind. And I couldn't believe how cool it was that all these people worked at a G.I. Joe factory. And so I was just imagining like what would happen if you had a company that was way cooler than that. Like essentially was making like Apple, but for children. That's the company that Leo is going to inherit. And I'm like, I don't know, just you get excited about what you get excited about. I guess it's the inverse of what we were talking about earlier about like what creeps are mad about is always what they care about the most. Like the inverse is you can only really be excited about what you're excited about. And for me, I was always like, boy, if we really did this ethically, like we could all succeed. Like this community could be that Friday night at a Pizza Hut again, where everybody's parents are financially secure and they do work that they enjoy, and like look at what we have going on here versus like, hey, we offshored all of your jobs and paid 37 people what we used to pay one of you, and good luck. So I feel like I'm making the core of the book sound sad, and it's not. It's about
not at all. It's
building that community versus like, boy, this sounds like a Robert Altman movie. It's not. It's yeah.